Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris and today I'm going to give you a tour of all of my plants in my garden. Some of these plants we started together, some of them were in my last video update, and there are some new ones as well. These are some of my new ones. These are marigolds. I have never really had such great success with marigolds, but these are doing phenomenal. These right here are my bell peppers that we started in the soil blocks together. They are growing very nicely. I'm happy with them. Here are the bulk of my tomatoes. They are just growing out of control. And you can see, even though they're still in soil blocks, I haven't up-potted them yet, but they still look just incredible and healthy. And in here, you'll see a couple of the tomato plants that I hard pruned. Right here and right here. And they are getting the vines that are coming out of each side. This one here especially looks really nice. This side right here, and then this one's a little bit smaller on this side, but I'm really quite impressed with how well this worked out. We'll see in the long term how these actually do over the course of the season and see if they really do produce more than the other tomatoes. These tomatoes definitely need to be up potted, but the pots that I ordered to up pot them into, they were supposed to be delivered today, but unfortunately they were shipped via FedEx, and FedEx is notorious for being late, sometimes very late. So I'm hoping in this case they're not too late and that they come within the next couple days so I can get these up potted sooner rather than later. These are tomatoes that I already up potted from pots that I already have. These are 2.5-inch pots. Here's my holy basil, which has grown quite a bit from the last time you saw it. Here we have some orange prince flowers that are just going crazy. They really need to be put outside, but it's just too early from them. I'll do another video of kind of things that I've learned from this season of seed starting, but one of them is some of these flowers like the orange prince and the cosmos that I'll show in a minute, as well as these tomatoes. I started all of them way too early. The tomatoes I started 6 weeks before my last frost date, which is actually today, April 15th. But I think instead of going by my last frost date, that I should go by the day that I plan to plant them out. These tomatoes aren't going to be planted outside for about another month, unless we get really bad weather like we did last year, and then it could be closer to a month and a half. So they still have a lot of time before they go outside, which means they have a lot of growing to do inside. So next year, I'm definitely gonna go by the day I plan to plant them out and not my last frost date, and hopefully they will stay a manageable size inside. Up here we have basil. Basil is also something that just kind of went crazy. And one thing I'm really excited about here is that in here, it's kind of getting crowded out. These are also going to be up potted. But last time I shared this, I didn't have any of these seeds germinate. I'd like to be able to tell you for sure what variety that is, but I realized that I accidentally labeled 2 of these African Nunums, while one of them is African Nunum and the other one is Siam Queen basil, and I'm not entirely sure which one's which. So hopefully as they get a little bigger, I'll be able to tell the difference in the flavor of the basil and know kind of which one is which. But whichever one that was, it was not sprouted last time. It is now. It just took a little longer, and I'm so excited for that. Last time in here, this is the lime basil, and that was just getting started last time. It's still very small. It seems like the lime basil just kind of grows a little bit slower. These tiny little plants that I have are looking really nice, so I think it will be just fine. This here is our coleus. It's looking incredibly beautiful, and you can see the colors in the leaves. I love this. I love this plant. It's just such a beautiful plant. These are straw flowers that are getting a little bit too big to be inside, but it's still too cold for them to go outside. And then these are the cosmos that just, well, kind of took off and haven't stopped taking off since. Next year, I don't think I'm going to start cosmos inside. I'm going to use the winter sowing method instead, because I don't think that starting them inside is necessary. And I do have some that I winter sowed, and they're doing fantastic and growing at a much more reasonable rate than these. So I think that's the way to go. So when I pointed out these peppers over here, I said these are the ones we started together, but they're not. These are the ones I planted because I thought the ones in the containers weren't going to actually germinate and grow. These are the ones I planted in place of those. These ones are the ones we started together. These are the hot peppers, and these lights definitely need to be raised. Well, here's the hot peppers, and here are our bell peppers. So they look incredible. They're growing like crazy. These are ones that definitely need to be uppotted as well. Here are the container hot peppers. They're also doing very well, but I would say that they're not doing quite as well as the soil blocks. Over here, I have a few more peppers, King of the North, they're in the back. They were planted after these ones, but they're bigger and fuller and look so much better. And the only difference is that they're in soil blocks instead of containers. Here are all of the surprise tomatillos that definitely need to be separated out and probably thinned. I don't think I will keep all of them. I added a couple peppers. These are Sugar Rush peach peppers, and back in the back there, those are albino bullnose peppers, all of which are doing really great. Right here is catnip, and this will be going outside here pretty soon. This is gold alyssum, which is also taking off and doing incredible. Here are the container bell peppers, which are actually looking really quite nice considering I didn't think I was going to get any of these. So that's all for the plants inside. Let's see what's going on outside. These are plants I have hardening off right now. This is a Colorado rainbow mix of yarrow. So it has white, yellow, pink, and purple, I believe are all of the colors that are mixed in here. This here is white yarrow. I have this one lonely marshmallow plant, but this plant is looking really spectacular. I tried growing marshmallow, I think a year or two ago, and none of the plants really ever did very well. This is looking 10 times better than any of those plants did. Here we have pansies. This is a giant Swiss mix of pansies. Over here, these are hardened off and ready to be planted. I have two little calendula plants. These are za'atar oregano. This right here is marjoram. And then in the back, I have two tarragon plants. We have 4 echinacea plants, 2 in the same pot. They're growing slowly, but they are growing. And that's really all I care about. I just want to see them actually growing. These here are thyme. I have 4 different pots of thyme, all of which are looking pretty good. This parsley, though, is looking spectacular. These really need to be planted. I'm going to plant them in a green stock, and I'm going to put them like in this corner of my patio. But I don't have the green stock filled, and the weather has not been very cooperative. It looks pretty decent right now, but it was pouring rain earlier, and it will be pouring rain again shortly. Here is our small planter with onions and calendula. I did harden off more calendula. I was able to fill all but 2 pockets of this, and the calendula that I just showed you will be the 2 that completely fills this green stalk. I decided to start some more winter sown seeds. Most of them have just been started in the past few days to weeks, so they're not really doing anything. But I did notice that this mimulus that I started on the 3rd is germinating very well. Looks like I'm going to have quite a lot of it. I also have my garlic. I still haven't hung that one yet, but I do have this one up as well as this one, and they're both doing fantastic. Every single garlic clove that I planted sprouted, which is awesome. I got them from MI Gardener, so I will probably buy from them again this coming fall for the garlic that I will plant for next year's harvest. This other green stalk we planted together, everything is looking really great with this. I was able to fill out this top tier. This one didn't have the calendula in it, but I was able to harden off enough so that I went ahead and filled this. So this one is completely done, with the exception of I have one more pocket up here that doesn't have a strawberry. But my strawberries are looking extremely happy. They seem to like their new space from where I transplanted them from. And this is the Fort Laramie that I didn't think was going to make it. It looked really, really sad, but now it's getting leaves and it's looking really good. I think it's gonna live. Over in this big bed, we have all of the cauliflower, cabbage, and broccoli that we planted. These are doing quite fantastic. And I was a little worried about some of these cauliflower plants because they got pretty beat with some rain and hail, and they didn't really look too good, but they're bouncing back, which is really great to see. Back there is some more cabbage. On this side is where all the broccoli are. I wasn't sure if the broccoli would perk up because it was also looking pretty sad, but they're looking really quite nice with the exception of that one. Looks like something got to it and ate it. So it looks like I'm going to lose one broccoli plant. Hopefully it is the only one we lose. I don't always have such a great track record with brassicas, so fingers crossed that we only lose that one. Our celery up here in this pot, as well as that pot, are all looking really nice. I've actually been battling squirrels in this. In both of them, actually. They must have buried some of their food over the winter in these planters. So sometimes when I come out, I will find holes dug in them. But the celery seems to be withstanding it quite well. And this long bed along the side of my deck is all potatoes. I haven't had a single potato sprout yet, or at least break the surface. But they are tucked in there, so hopefully soon. No, wait, actually that's not true at all. If you see right here, that is a potato sprout. So yay, that's our first potato sprout. That's super exciting. I was wondering, like waiting and waiting and waiting for the potatoes to sprout, like wondering when they're gonna start popping up. And today is the day. This is something that I didn't show in my last video. This right here is a plant called Pearly Everlasting. This is a very pretty flower and a very medicinal plant. I will do a dedicated video with all of the amazing things that this plant can do for you. I've had the Pearly Everlasting I think for 2 years now. I think this is the 3rd year, and it's doing fantastic. It really seems to love that pot. So if it's happy, I'm happy. These are all leeks that overwintered. I'm kind of waiting to see if they'll go to seed, and then I'll collect the seeds from them. I don't think they're going to turn into much else. These are some more winter sown seeds. I have 3 bags of zinnias, of different zinnias. This one, it is the Envy zinnia. It's starting to sprout. And then this one, which is the Romilla zinnia, is also sprouting. This is some freckled romaine. I've never had this lettuce before, but I'm super excited to give it a try. It looks like it's doing fabulous. Over here is a parsley plant from last year that survived the winter. That will also go into the green stock that we'll put our herbs, so it won't stay in that pot. Here's our new planter. This hasn't been planted yet, but it will have dill, basil, and some flowers in it. Here are all of the winter sown seeds that we started together, plus a few. There's just a few notable ones I wanted to show you. This is one. This is the Lincoln pea, and it's ready to be transplanted. I just need some nice weather to go ahead and get this green stalk ready that it's going to go in, and it can be planted. And here I have some giant winter spinach, and here some verdil spinach. Both of the spinach looks incredible and is also about ready to be transplanted. Here is some romaine. It also is about ready to be transplanted. I have cabbage and some more broccoli that are going to be ready very soon. The broccoli in here, it's the same broccoli that's planted in that planter. And if you notice, I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of leggy in here. That's one of the problems I had with the broccoli, is it was just so leggy. I wasn't sure how it was going to do when I transplanted it, and I thought maybe I just did something wrong, or I didn't have the lights close enough, so it got leggy inside. But it got leggy out here too, so I don't think it was just me. It must just be something with maybe this type of broccoli that it gets a little leggy. Most of the rest of these have also sprouted. I think there's maybe 2 that haven't. But as we open them up and get them ready to transplant, I'll go into a little more depth about all of them. This is our 8x2 bed that I planted with the root crops. All of this is the scarlet radish. And when I planted this, I decided not to succession sow, just because I'm going to plant this bed with tomatoes right after it. And I really didn't feel like I had the time to do multiple successions of radishes before the tomatoes went in. So I just decided not to do it. I don't know if I'll do that again next year, because that's a lot of radishes. They definitely need to be thinned out, but it is a lot of radishes to have all at once. So hopefully I find something really fun to do with them. Over here at the other end are our turnips. The purple top is right here, and the golden turnips are right here. They are both looking really nice and also are going to need to be thinned. In the middle here are beets, and the beets are just starting to come up. There's one right here. There's a couple more right here. Another one right there. So these took a little bit longer to come up, but they are starting to pop up, both the Detroit Red and the Chayoga. So that's really exciting too. I was really happy to see that a couple of days ago, that they're finally starting to make an appearance. The beets and the turnips are also something that ideally I would succession sow, but because I need that bed pretty much clear in about a month and a half, I didn't really feel like I had the time to succession sow any of those and still have the bed be able to be ready for the tomatoes. Last but not least, over here, I did not show these last time either, and I can't believe I forgot about them. I have this elderberry and this elderberry. This one definitely needs to be staked. They're both blue elderberries, and I'm very excited. These are their second year. So I don't know if they're going to produce any berries or not, but we'll find out. Then over here, this right here is a red currant. This is also its second year, so I don't know if this is going to produce or not either, but it's looking incredibly healthy. I'm just very excited that it's a very healthy plant. One thing I didn't mention at the 8x2 bed is it is lined with parsnips, and the parsnips haven't sprouted yet. But I put those right along the edge so they're not going to interfere with the tomatoes when I plant those. Plus, parsnips have a long growing season, so they needed a place that they were going to be able to be for about 3 to 4 months. So that is it for my backyard. So I thank you so much for joining me today in our little bit of a break from the incredibly rainy weather we've been having lately. I hope you enjoyed the tour and seeing how all of our plants are doing. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button so you can follow along on how these plants are doing, what the harvest looks like, and even what I end up doing with the harvest, because growing is only half the fun. The other half is being able to eat what you grow. I appreciate you taking some of your time to spend some of it with me, and I really hope to see you next time.